ओम स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतार वरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। जननीं शारदां देवीं रामकृष्णं जगद्गुरु पादपद्मे तयोः श्रित्वा प्रणमामि मुहुर्मुहुः। नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे। So we are studying the chapter Sadhana and ecstasy. They're all beyond our comprehension. Some of the experiences of Sri Ramakrishna which are being described, हम सबको समझना ही मुश्किल है, फिर भी पढ़ेंगे, थोड़ा कोशिश करेंगे. So you know how he's literally, he talked, he walked, he played with mother, and it was living. He would put his hands near her nostrils to see whether she was breathing. And she saw the mother going up and down the staircase at night and all that. His writes, when one entered the Kali temple in those days, one could perceive an ineffable divine presence and feel an airy sensation even when uncle was not there, and much more when he was. You often talk about the presence, the atmosphere. So even, of course, for ashramas also, if you see, on special days, when so many people gather, everybody is meditating or everybody is thinking of Thakur, Man, Swamiji, nice bhajans are going on, puja is going on, we feel a difference. So how much it would be, if someone who lives day and night with God, if such a person does puja, the mother was virtually living for him. So obviously those who came also, to some extent, they would feel if they have a little sensitive. That's why they say one should develop a spiritual sensitiveness to understand. Not all have it. So Thakur himself says, hey, look, aate hain. When they come, many people could not come very frequently to Dakshineshwar. So उनका जब भी अवसर मिलता था, सब प्रश्न इकट्ठा करके आ जाते थे to ask that day whatever doubts, to hear to Sri Ramakrishna as much as possible, जितना समय उनके साथ रहें. But the friend is not interested. एकदम he nudges him. चलो चलो बहुत हो गया बहुत. Then he would say, but then this person is not listening. क्योंकि ये तो उनके साथ मिलने के लिए, समय बिताने के लिए आया है. Come to spend in his company. How you would go? ठीक है, मैं नाव में जाके बैठ जाऊं, तुम आ जाओ. See how it's very difficult even to stand that spiritual atmosphere. दूसरी जगह बता रहे हैं. See that kind of insects which are only in dirty places. आपके अच्छे कोई फूलों के अंदर रखो तो मर ही जाएगा, उसके गंदगी के अंदर ही वो अच्छा रहेगा. So like that, if you, when that's why they say, so then that famous incident, Sir Subrata says, when that fisherman, that from the family, that young lady, she could not sleep and she was given such a nice room full of flowers. And finally she had to bring her fish basket and jal sinchan karke wahi so ke वही सो गई. So the point is, is very important when we come to ashramas, when we come to such places, to cultivate the spiritual culture, ताकि वही हम लोग पकड़ के रख पाएंगे, कुछ भी अनुभव करेंगे. अदरवाइज तो साल तो खत्म हो जाएगा. So that's why, since Radhama used to say, even after you finish japa, don't immediately get up and start your other activities. Keep sitting there on the seat itself and do some stotra part, etc. And then start. Quite often, we just see the clock, 15 minutes ho gaya, utke, then next work. We go by the clock, not by our heart or by our feelings. आधा घंटा हो गया, बहुत हो गया, उठो, उठ के not only that, do something directly opposite, not connected to japa or meditation, because it's all very easy to say, very difficult to practice. But then, if we practice, then only we will get. Otherwise, all these would remain absolutely unknown Greek and Latin to us. ये सब सिर्फ मन किताब में पढ़ सकते हैं, कुछ भी हम लोग का उसके साथ जोड़ना, समझना संभव नहीं होगा. So, he says, I couldn't resist the temptation of seeing how he acted when he was performing the worship. जब इस समय उनका वो क्या क्या कार्य में देखना बहुत ही मेरा उत्साह हो. And then, as long as I was actually watching him, my heart was full of reverence and devotion. When I left the temple, I began to have doubts and ask myself, has uncle really gone mad? Why else would he do such strange things? So, हृदय की तो हमेशा जो विषय बुद्धि तो बहुत ही अच्छी परिमाण था उसके अंदर. उनका यही सोचता, मालिक लोग पता चलते तो निकाल देंगे, वो निकाल जाएगा तो मैं भी, मेरा भी निकाल देंगे. So he was worried about his stomach, livelihood. And like, because he has never seen, nor have he ever heard of someone feeding the mother and then first eating and then giving to the mother Naivedya and all that is all absolutely unknown. वो क्या पागल हो गए क्या, क्या हुआ उनका, ऐसे ऐसे क्यों अचीव करते हैं वो चीज. I didn't venture to speak to him much longer, but I was afraid of what the Rani and Mathur Babu would say when they come to hear of it. वही उनका बहुत डर था, उसीलिए बातें जो मर्जी करो, ताकि I am also not thrown out. But uncle was unconcerned and paid no heed to any warnings. I didn't venture to speak to him much any longer. My mouth was closed by fear I can't describe. I felt there was some kind of barrier between us. So I just looked after him in silence as best I could, but I was afraid he would make a scene someday. वो धीरे धीरे दिख रहा है उसके साथ वो का कुछ भी बात करने का संभव ही नहीं. He can't even talk. See, when some person is in a very great spiritual mood, you've seen even sometimes very senior Swamis, direct disciples, President Maharaj and others, you just can't just go talk like that. So their moods, their way they are conducting themselves, sometimes different. So he says, I was afraid. दोनों के बीच में क्या कुछ ऐसे कुछ हो गया, barrier. Sometimes Hidaya would visit the temple during worship. Upon seeing the master's action, he immediately felt awe, fear, and devotion. Later he narrated the following to us. डर भी था, भक्ति भी हो रहा था, और इसके बिल्कुल आश्चर्यान्वित हो गए, ये क्या कर रहे हैं. I saw uncle taking hibiscus flowers and bell leaves in his hand, touching first his head, then his chest, then all over his body, even his feet, and finally offering those at the feet of the mother. Take that java full leke, अपना सिर पे, छाती पे, पैर पर्यंत स्पर्श करके फिर माँ के ऊपर चढ़ाते. How is it possible? Normally, even in Bhakti traditions, it's not possible. Impossible to imagine. Advaita में तो पूजा की बात ही नहीं है. I don't know what he was doing, something very, very different. क्योंकि भक्ति में भगवान की देने के पहले कई लोग हैं 1000 बार हाथ धोना, स्नान करना, ये करना, वही करके करके, ये ऑलवेज अफ्रेड, कुछ स्पर्श कर दिया, कुछ कर दिया, and everything as far as possible pure, neat, clean, fresh clothes after taking bath, these, that, बहुत से नियम. Even very advanced sadhakas, not only those who are doing it in the beginning, even those जिनका भी मान लीजिए भगवान दर्शन भी हुआ, such a person also, supposing माने किसी को भगवान श्री कृष्ण की बा, दुर्गा का बा, माँ के दर्शन हुआ, वो क्या ऐसा कर सकते हैं पहले अपना सिर पे सब फल चढ़ा के then giving it to mother? No. Normally, it is not done. It's not possible at all. Even if they have a vision or something, still there will be some distance. भगवान की तरह से मैं जितना मैं आगे चल पाऊं, कितना, how much can I go ahead? लेकिन here it seems something very very special. क्या भाव था ठाकुर का, can't understand. ताकि अपना सिर पे रख के वही पैर भी स्पर्श करके वही फूल माँ के चढ़ाते हैं. That means, that intimacy has gone beyond description. वो कोई ही इसकी भाषा ही नहीं. In a small way, I have told in other class in the ashrama there was one famous Vaishnava saint. She was very well known as Andal. मंदिर अभी भी है दक्षिण भारत में. वो भगवान की माला पहनाते थे. She is from, there are 12 famous alvars. Alvar means जो उन्होंने भगवान के ऊपर जो शासन किया. Alvar in Tamil means one who ruled over the Lord virtually. That's the meaning of that word. So the 12 of them are very famous because they were so devoted. I mean, exceptionally devoted. So one of them was this Alvar. We forget his name, probably Kulasekara Alvar or somebody. So a very famous temple in Dakshin Bharat, in Tamil Nadu, called Sri Villiputtur. वो वहाँ जो भगवान का, कृष्ण का, हर रोज वो फूल चयन करके माला बनाते थे. And he would give it to that young daughter, Goda. Her name was Goda. उसका देते हैं, आप जाओ देख के आओ मंदिर में भगवान के पहना के आओ, ऐसा भेज देते थे. Young girl, devoted, let her learn from for a very young age. वो तो ऐसे नहीं करते थे, पहले जाके खुद पहना के एक शीशा के सामने खड़ा होके देख के फिर जाके मंदिर में चढ़ा देते थे. So one day this father accidentally घर आया न कहाँ आया, देखा. He was so shocked, so shocked. अभी क्या होगा, अभी क्या होगा, इतना सेवा अपराध हो गया. पहले खुद ही उच्चिष्ट चढ़ाया, जो व्यवहार किया वो उच्चिष्ट चढ़ाया, ऐसे ऐसे सोच के बहुत इतना दुखी हो गए, क्या करो, मर ही जाओ ऐसा. स्मॉल गर्ल, उसका तो डांट की भी कोई फायदा नहीं. यानी से नहीं वो छोड़ो. फिर जाके नया फूल उन्होंने चयन किया. एंड ही मेड अ माला एंड सेड, खुद ही चले गए, मैं पहनाऊंगा. But then he saw the temple door was closed. Cannot enter. अंदर प्रवेश नहीं कर पा रहे. Then when he was praying, क्या होगा, इतना अपराध हो गया, भगवान का दर्शन मैंने बोला नहीं, मैं गोदा जो खुद पहन के मेरे पहनाती थी ना, वही माला ले आओ, मैं वही चाहता. So she became a very very famous saint, and then he wrote wonderful compositions called Tiruppaவை. इस मार्गशीर्ष मास में जो संक्रांति के पहले जो महीने होता है, 30 दिन का एक दिन का एक करके बहुत सुंदर भगवान के प्रति विशेष रूप से कन्या सब वही पाठ करते थे. जो क्योंकि आंडाल तो भगवान की अपना स्वामी रूपे पहना चाहती, मिलना चाहती थी. एंड फाइनली इट इज सेड दैट शी वेंट एंड मर्ज्ड विद द लॉर्ड एंड श्री विल्लीपुत्र. ऐसे ऐसे कहानी है. बट दिस इज वेरी फेमस. सो अभी भी तमिलनाडु में बहुत प्रसिद्ध है, जो मानगढ़ी में सुबह सब 5 बजे उठ के जो नगर परिक्रम करते हैं, 15, 20, 25, 30 आदमी, ये सब दिस एंड अदर सॉन्ग्स दे सिंग एंड दे गो राउंड. कई मंदिर का परिक्रम करते हैं. सो मेनी टेम्पल्स, इट्स वेरी फेमस. सो लाइक दैट, how can see, our father was a great devotee, no doubt, but he could not understand how Goda could first use it, put on herself and then offer it to Lord. क्योंकि हम लोग का भक्ति में ना जितना भी हो, भगवान इतनी उच्चा एक अवस्था में है, हम वहां तक पहुंच नहीं पाओ. हमेशा there is always a difference. That's what the bhakti tradition keeps going. You keep on praying, keep on praying, keep on. But then कोई ऐसी स्थिति में भी पहुंच जाए, वो भगवान के साथ कोई फर्क नहीं है. भगवान मैं किसी को जीवन हो जाए, इतना तक नहीं, इतना तादाद में उसके साथ इतनी एक भाव जिससे वो संभाषण कर पाते हैं. पूछ रहे हैं, why you are not taking it? Should I first use it and then give? That will make you happy. कितनी उसका घनिष्ठता संपर्क में आया. सोचो, I saw uncle's chest and eyes become red like those of a drunkard. He would get up reeling from the worshipper's seat, climb onto the altar and caress the divine mother, chucking her affectionately under the chin. ऐसे ये करते थे, स्पर्श करते थे. He was so absolutely living. Initially he struggled for the first division, but subsequent to that, it was a living relationship. He saw her alive all the time. So इसलिए ऐसे कोई नशे में ऐसे करके वो आसन से उठ के जाके माँ के स्पर्श करके ऐसे से करते थे. So naturally anybody seeing it would be terribly afraid. क्या हो रहा है? He affectionately, he would sing, laugh, joke and talk with her. Sometimes he would catch hold of her hands and dance. So हम लोग कैसे समझ पाएंगे? We can't even guess what it is all about. Simply we can only read. And it was a very, very exceptionally different kind of relationship. और ऐसे कोई अतीत में नहीं हुआ, भविष्य में लग रहा है होना असंभव लग रहा है. Because now we have all the avatars, etc., about their lives, we have all heard. That's why, why Ramakrishna's life as an avatar is so important for mankind. जो प्रसिद्ध अवतार जो सब जानते हैं, कृष्ण की और रामचंद्र, ये दोनों का कोई साधन पर्व की बात कुछ भी, all the granthas that is available normally, nothing is written. तो श्री कृष्ण तो अपना बचपन से, जन्म से खुद का ताकत, his capacity, his powers, his magical powers, his supernatural powers, his powers of attraction, बहुत सारे उन्होंने दिखाए. And in the case of Ramchandra, even that was not there. Even Aishwarya, he hardly exhibited. But only he lived an exceptional life. इसलिए उसके मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम कहते हैं. ऐसे एक मनुष्य जीवन में सर्वोच्च स्तर पे जाके कैसे कोई जीना कैसे संभव है, एक बिल्कुल स्वार्थ की लेश भी वहां नहीं. इवन a trace of स्वार्थ is not there. Was ready to sacrifice everything right from the age of say 15-16 onwards. और उसके पहले भी जब बचपन अवस्था में जब विश्वामित्र जी ले गए थे, from that time onwards almost till the last day, a life completely lived for others. So but here we get a different kind of avatar, where his whole emphasis is on sadhana. मेरे ख्याल से इसीलिए एक एक युग में ऐसे ही जो जैसे प्रयोजन होता है, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द नीड, such type of personalities appear. क्योंकि कली काल में सब तो साधन को तो बहुत ही दूर रहते ना. पीपल आर नॉट ओरिएंटेड टुवर्ड साधन. अब आपकी सब बचपन पे याद करिए, you always know the house there used to be some spiritual culture, some spiritual atmosphere. सुबह उठ के करना, सुबह शाम दिया जलाना, कुछ स्तोत्र पाठ, कुछ करना. It was all part of daily life. All have been now thrown out of the window. Nothing. So probably Sri Ramakrishna want to say that no, this Kali also it is very necessary. Unless you do this, you will not realize the true purpose or meaning of life. इसलिए लग रहा है, and he has taken it to such a degree. I saw how when he was offering cooked food to the Divine Mother, he would suddenly get up, take a morsel of rice and curry from the plate in his hand, touch the mother's mouth with it and say, eat. eat, mother. Do eat it. Then maybe he would say, you want me to eat and then you will eat some afterwards? All right, I am eating now. Then you take some of it himself and put the rest in your lips, again saying, I have had some, now you eat. you can't even you can't even imagine how all this is possible. One day, uncle saw a cat at the time of the food offering. It had come into the temple mewing. He fed it with the food that was to be offered to the Divine Mother. Will you take it, mother? He said to the cat. Some nights, actually, it would have been impossible for him to continue living in the human body. But for mother's direct intervention, 3 बार इसके उन्होंने ऐसे आदेश मिला था, तुम भाव मुख में रहो. Otherwise, his body would have dropped dead. Some nights I saw that when the uncle put the Divine Mother to bed, he would sometimes ask, Mother, do you want me to lie down next to you? All right, I'm lying down. Saying he would be down for some time on the Divine Mother's silver bedstead. Again, I saw that when uncle performed worship, he was so deeply absorbed in meditation, it is not the slightest outer consciousness for a long time. बिल्कुल ऐसे पूजा के पहले जो प्रारंभ में जो होता है, ध्यान करके बैठ करने के लिए बैठते थे, डूब जाते थे घंटों पर. Every morning when he arose, uncle would pick flowers to make a garland for the Divine Mother. At those times, I noticed him talking with someone unseen, laughing, coaxing, and joking. साधारण लोग तो पागल ही समझेंगे ना. I further saw that at night, uncle did not sleep at all. Whenever I awoke, I found him in an exalted mood, talking, singing, or immersed in meditation in the Panchavati. Hriday said that although the master's strange behavior made him apprehensive, he would not express his fears to others and seek their advice. He feared that others might report the news to the high officials of the temple. Because of एक ही डर था, मेरा नौकरी क्या होगा, मेरा नौकरी क्या होगा. Who would harm his uncle by notifying Mathur? But how could one keep the situation a secret when such things are happening every day? सब तो आते ही देखते हैं ना, सब जाके मंदिर ऑफिस में बोलेंगे ऐसे ऐसे हो रहा है. हाँ, सब तो ऐसे ही कुछ भी देखे तो immediately they know how to complain. People always knew. एक बार हम लोग का वही आरती की समय वो ठाकुर का नहीं था, दूसरा कोई उत्सव था. स्पेशल पूजा की बात, I asked somebody, you sing that Jaya Jagadish Hare, something like that. Immediately someone wrote to Belirman, ये महाराज आके सब बदल दिया, आरती के समय ऐसे ऐसे गाना हो रहा है. मैं बोला इसमें क्या दिक्कत क्या है? Like that. So naturally, when they see something, many people whoever came, because all those days not many would come. Still, the matter reached the office. So he feared. Like Hriday, some people visited the temple during the worship. Huh, huh, saw the master's unusual behavior. They complained to the temple officials who rushed to the Kali temple and saw everything. But when confronted by the master's God-intoxicated form, familiar behavior with the deity, and fearless composure, they were stupefied with fright. खुद ही डर गए, क्योंकि ठाकुर तो किसी को दिखावा के लिए नहीं है, उनका तो इतना it was so spontaneous, स्वभाव सिद्ध था. Simply he would immerse, he would not see right, left or center. कौन आया, कौन नहीं आया, कौन है, कौन नहीं, पता भी नहीं था उनका. He never used to even see who is coming or who is not. Even when Hriday came, he would not even know. क्यों? और एक बार वहां अंदर आ जाए, he would be so immersed in that worship. उनका कुछ भी करने का समय भी नहीं होता था, और nor would he look at anything. So उनका जो naturally, even a very ordinary person would understand इसलिए हम लोग का कई बार सोचते हैं ना, if one is really evolved in spiritual life, सबको पता होगा, वो तो साधारण नहीं है। नहीं तो इतना निडर कैसे माँ के पास जा रहे हैं, ऐसे ऐसे कैसे कर रहे हैं? It is not acting, it's not drama. Nobody can go and feed the mother saying मैं पहले ले लिया, अभी आप बाकी खा लो, ऐसे हो सकता है क्या? So they became afraid. ये क्या हो रहा है यहाँ? But still they were naturally, they were worldly minded. They were waiting. They could neither say anything nor put a stop. The officials returned to their office, and after discussion, they concluded that Ramakrishna had either become mad or had been possessed by a ghost. कोई उनका भूत प्रेत कोई पकड़ लिया जिसकी वजह से ऐसे कर रहे। No normal person would behave in such an unscriptural way, wayward manner during worship. क्योंकि ये तो शास्त्र में तो कहा नहीं है, पूजा पद्धति वगैरह में क्या कहते हैं? साधारण लोग, हम लोग का नॉर्मल क्या है? साधारण लोग का नॉर्मल, वन इज वेरी स्पिरिचुअली इवॉल्व, उनका अबनॉर्मल होगा। साधारण लोग का अबनॉर्मल, उनका नॉर्मल होगा। नेचुरली दे आर परस्पर सीधी ना। आई थिंक समबडी फ्रॉम ब्रह्म समाज तो बोला, ठाकुर के कान पे आया, वो तो पागल हो गए। अकबर, जिन लोग दिन रात विषय चिंता कर रहे हैं उन सबको माथा ठीक है, मैं दिन रात भगवान का नाम कर रहा हूँ, मेरा माथा खराब हो गया, मेरा ऐसे मैं पागल हो गया, ऐसा हो सकता है क्या? That's what he was shocked because they were spreading rumors that he had become mad. So like that here also they were sure that either he is mad or some ghost has taken possession, but क्या करें? No normal person would do. In fact, the worship and service of food offering were not being performed properly. पूजा सेवा अपराध हो रहा है, पूजा ठीक से नहीं हो रहा है। Ramakrishna had ruined everything. They said the message should be sent to Mathur immediately. When their complaint reached Mathur at Calcutta, he replied that he would visit Dakshineshwar soon and take whatever actions were necessary. वो तो बहुत गुंडा था लेकिन अच्छा एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर भी था। बोल रहे आप लोग चुप रहो, आप तो बोल दिया ना मेरे को, मैं आके खुद ही देख लूंगा, तब तक वो जैसे करे करने दो। That is the hallmark of good administration, no? No, आप जाके बोलो रुक दो मैं आ जाऊंगा, नहीं, करने दो, मैं आके देख लूंगा, मेरा आपसे खुद आँख से देख लूंगा क्या हो रहा है। So he wanted to know really what happens. None should oppose it. The officials waited anxiously for Mathur. वो कब आएगा, उनका कब डंडा मारेगा? They were waiting and began to gossip. Now Ramakrishna will be fired. Mathur will throw him out. He has committed a sin against Kali. How long will she put up with it? अभी उनका वो भी माँ के पक्ष भी ले लिया। He has committed a sin against mother. ऐसे ऐसे करना तो पाप है, तो सहन नहीं करेगी, उसका तो निकाल देंगे सब। One day Mathur came to Dakshineshwar unannounced. He entered the Kali temple during the worship service and watched the master's activities for a long time. खुद ही आके नहीं, बहुत समय लेके बैठ के वो देखने लगा क्या हो रहा है, क्या कर रहे हैं श्री रामकृष्ण। Being overwhelmed with devotion, the master did not notice Mathur at all. वही पुजारी तो दौड़ दौड़ के पहले अर्घ्य लेके जाएंगे, आप ये दीजिए, ये कर दीजिए, तो करते हैं हम लोग। कोई बड़े कोई आ जाए तो देवता के भूल जाते हैं, उनका कैसे संतुष्ट करें? अरे ना आप आ जाइए बैठिए, then we start attending. But Ramakrishna was not like that. He did not even look at Mathur. He did not even know that somebody has come in. He was so absorbed. Mathur bhi dekh rahe. He did not notice who was moving in or out of the temple. Mathur realized this immediately. He further understood that the master's childlike importunate demands on the Divine Mother originated from his sincere devotion. वो इतना भक्ति भाव से माँ के इतना सब कर रहे हैं, मांग रहे हैं, बोल रहे हैं, उसके साथ छेड़ रहे हैं, everything you could understand. Mathur asked himself, if the mother could not be seen with such unostentatious faith and devotion, then how else could she be realized? ऐसा भक्ति, इसमें बिल्कुल दिखावा कुछ नहीं है। ऐसा भक्ति से माँ के कोई प्राप्त नहीं करें, कैसे करेंगे? तो how mother can be realized. Mathur asked himself. Mathur's heart was filled with wonderful joy when he saw how tears trickled down the master's face during worship, and how sometimes he was filled with unbounded joy and sometimes was unconscious like an inanimate object, unperturbed and completely oblivious of external objects. वो देख रहे हैं माँ के ठाकुर का विभिन्न तरह का भाव है. कभी इतना इतना अश्रु दर्शन करे, आंख से आंसू आ रहा है, कभी इतना आनंद में एकदम भरे हुए ऐसा, कभी कभी ऐसा कोई जड़ की तरह, कुछ भी जिंदा है नहीं है पता भी नहीं है, ऐसा स्थिति भी. इज वेरिंग मूड्स ऑफ द मास्टर, नॉट जस्ट वन, नॉट जस्ट ओनली वन टाइप ऑफ डिवोशन, एवरी काइंड ऑफ. देखे तो बहुत चकित हो गए, प्रभावित भी हो. वो तो समझते थे ना, उनका तो ठाकुर का वहां ले आना की यही उद्देश्य था. जब उन्होंने उनका और शिव जी का जब मूर्ति बनाए थे ठाकुर, वही देखे हाँ ये माँ के साथ जुड़ जाए तो माँ जग जाएगी. He knew it was only a stone image. But if someone like Ramakrishna gets linked to the temple, माँ के सेवा में लग जाए, माँ जरूर जागृत हो जाए. That he was convinced. So he was very happy. What he had thought of was really happening. His judgment, his idea, they were very perfect. So, Mathur experienced a tangible divine presence in the temple and became convinced that Sri Ramakrishna had been blessed by the Divine Mother. खुद ही एक वहां एक दिव्य जो कुछ अनुभव किया था परिसर में. So he then bowed down to the mother and a wonderful worshipper with heartfelt devotion and tearful eyes, saying, "Now the purpose of the goddess installation has been fulfilled." खुद ही एकदम, he was shedding tears and he offered pranams to the mother and also Ramakrishna, saying that माँ की यहाँ लाना, मूर्ति प्रतिष्ठा की उद्देश्य सफलता प्राप्त हो गया. He returned to Calcutta. The mother has truly appeared here. Her worship has been performed properly. यही तरीका पूजा है कि बाकी सब तो हम लोग पत्थर समझ ही करते हैं ना. वो दिल्ली आश्रम में एक महाराज जी आते थे भागवत कथा के लिए. वो बहुत सुंदर एक कहानी बताए, वो बहुत कहानियां बताते थे. बोला कोई यज्ञ कर रहा था, हर रोज गणेश मूर्ति का भोग चढ़ाता था. रोज चढ़ा रहे, कुछ तो गणेश जी नहीं आ रहे, कुछ देख नहीं पा रहे. हाँ, तो ऐसे करके कुछ नहीं दूंगा करके एक दिन कुछ भी नहीं दिया. तो गणेश जी क्या है, पत्थर है, हर रोज भोग चढ़ाता हूँ, दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है, आज कुछ नहीं दूंगा. उस दिन गणेश जी प्रकट हो गए. बोला अरे हर रोज मैं आपको इतना भोग चढ़ाता था, आप तो नहीं आए. हाँ, हर रोज आप पत्थर समझते थे, आज मैं सचमुच तो जीवन तो समझा, उसी में प्रकट हो गया. सो मातुर भी देखा माँ का पूजा सचमुच बढ़िया ढंग से हो रहे. अदरवाइज हाउ कुड अ पुजारी हैव सच ए लिविंग रियल एक्सपीरियंस एंड ऑल्सो द एटमॉस्फेयर. मंदिर में प्रवेश करते ऐसे कोई अभाव, दैट परिसर उनका बहुत प्रभावित किया. वो बहुत खुश हो गए. Next day, he returned to the Calcutta home without saying anything to the temple officials. Next day, he sent an order that Ramakrishna perform the worship in any way he chooses. Please don't obstruct him. उनका बिल्कुल आप डिस्टर्ब मत करो, जैसे करेंगे वैसे ही करना है. आई थिंक तो खड़ी भाषा में लिखा है. यस मार यस पुट इट वेरी माइंडली. दार घाड़े दूटी माथा আছে সে ওখানে যাক, ऐसे कुछ बोला. जिनके गर्दन पर दो सिर है, क्योंकि एक तो काट दूंगा, इसीलिए बोला था. आपका दो है तो एक बच जाएगा, एक में काटूंगा. कोई वहां हाथ लगाए तो कुछ बोले. He was so we are set a very strong order, क्योंकि ये सब खजांजी वगैरह को तो विश्वास करना मुश्किल है ना. तो काली बोला नहीं, ऐसे मालिक बोल के गया, ऐसे कुछ बोले. इसलिए बोला बिल्कुल नजदीक मत जाओ, जैसे करे करने दो. With knowledge of these events, a reader well versed in the scriptures will easily understand that during this period, the master's mind had transcended the limited bounds of Vaidhi Bhakti. Vaidhi means Vidhivat. कोई पूजा वगैरह में विधि, इतना करना, ये भोग चढ़ाना, ये आसन, ये न्यास. जिसको लिए काली माँ काली की पूजा के लिए तो बहुत ही नियम है. हम सब वैधि भक्ति करते हैं, विधिवत करना कोशिश करते हैं, उसमें भी बहुत गलतियां आ जाती है, लेकिन जनरली द आइडिया इज टू डू इट as perfectly as possible. So he says he was no longer in that Vaidhi stage and was moving fast towards the higher realm of Raga Bhakti, supreme devotion. ऐसी भगवान की प्रति भक्ति और कुछ भी देखना समझना इधर उधर कुछ भी, direct communion with God. So this happened in such a simple, natural way that he himself could not comprehend it, much less others. ठाकुर कुछ भी थोड़ा समझते थे, मेरे तो ऐसा विधि सब छोड़ दिया, मेरा क्या हो रहा है, मेरा तो ये सब करना ठीक नहीं है. Would he do if he was aware? वो कुछ जानते थे. Was Ramakrishna deliberately breaking the rules and regulations? ना वो सब क्या कम्युनिस्ट ना कोई ऐसे पार्टी है ना, मैं सब तोड़ दूंगा, अपना मर्जी से करूं. नो, that was not there. उन्होंने भी जैसे ही विधिवत करना राम कुमार से तो शिक्षा प्राप्त किया, खुद का ऐसे काली भक्त से दीक्षित कर लिया खुद को, because he thought before mother's worship I should be initiated. Everything he did, he started sincerely, but within a short time he was fast tracked himself. इतना जल्दी आगे चलने लगे, बहुत जल्दी से वे राग भक्ति स्टेज में पहुंच गए हैं. वहां कोई विधि नियम कानून नहीं रहता. There is such an intimate relation with your own object of worship. आपकी अपना इष्ट के साथ ऐसे घनिष्ठ संपर्क बन जाता है, वहां कोई विधि नियम नहीं होता है. Very in a small way, and we also to when formal guests come, लोग का यही देना है, यहाँ करना है, यहाँ पानी रखना है, ये प्लेट में देना है, ये आसन देना है, इससे बैठेंगे वहां बैठेंगे. All that. When somebody comes, जैसे वैसे कोई, अरे मेरा तो अपना अरे तुम जाओ किचन में जाके ले लो, एक प्लेट में जाते ले, बोल देते हैं. अरे कैसे बोलते, वो तो गेस्ट है. अरे गेस्ट क्या है, वो तो अपना आदमी है, मैं कितना उसके 50 साल उसके जानता हूँ, उसके साथ मेरा क्या है, मैं जैसे बोलूं वो खुद ही ले लेगा. There is no, we don't believe in any this thing. The mother also used to say, whenever she has to send something, उसको भेजना है, इनमें से सब दामाद सब बार रहते थे, उनका वो जो नलिनी उन लोग के बोला, देखो तुम्हारी सब दामाद की भेजने के लिए मेरा इतना कटोरा वगैरह सब निकलना है पड़ता है, लेकिन मेरा जो यहाँ जरा मेरा अपना जो यहाँ संतान रहती है, उन लोग का क्या है, मैं हाथ में भी देता हूँ, कोई कटोरा भी दे, जहां भी देता हूँ, कुछ भी नहीं है, मेरा इतना सहज है. क्यों? अपने आदमी. Similarly, here also there was no question of any formal relationship. पूजा वगैरह की क्या उद्देश्य क्या है? पूजा करके जो देवता की जागृत करना. अदरवाइज it will be a stone. क्यों हिंदू शास्त्र में ऐसे कोई पत्थर के क्यों पूछते, कि पत्थर की कोई पूछता है क्या? तो महाराजा आलवार के साथ स्वामी जी का जो घटना हुआ था ना, स्वामी जी, I don't believe in stone, worshipping stone, etc. etc. स्वामी जी समझा उनका ठीक से क्या. So that way the idea is you start with that, but you don't end with that. So then slowly, that's why the famous saying, you can be born in a church, you shouldn't die there. That doesn't mean, that means being born as such is being formal. जो भी है, baptism, वगैरह, formal initiation into religion. Puja is also when you start like that, temple. But when you go higher and higher, then the goddess becomes God, or goddess becomes living, an extraordinary relation. And then at even higher stage, you become one with it, this complete oneness. There is only that Chaitanya consciousness, etc. See, if you say if you see the life of Sri Ramakrishna, the perfect stage by transition. कई लोग ऐसे के ना ऐसा Basmashi also struggled hard because he was not believing in Murti Puja, etc., etc. He was always his bent of mind was towards Advaita. Normally, आप द्वैत ऐसा पथ पे धीरे धीरे चल चल के नहीं जाएंगे. Probably there may be something lacking in your life. That exactly happened to Totapuri. वो बचपन से अद्वैत साधना ही किया, वहां तो ब्रह्म ज्ञान तो प्राप्त किया, लेकिन यहाँ के वो समझ नहीं पाया. बाकी लोग हाउ डू दे ट्रैवर्स द पाथ ऑफ डिवोशन एक्सेट्रा. भारत में भी करोड़ों करोड़ों, कितना हजार करोड़ों भारतवासी वैध पथ पे चलते हैं, विभिन्न देव देवताओं की उपासना करते हैं. आर दे आर फूल्स? देयर आर सम पीपल ओपनली क्रिटिसाइज. I don't think it is correct. But there is another aspect of Sri Ramakrishna's harmony where he showed by going through all the paths, he could have remained a devotee all his life. That was enough. What he had achieved in the field of devotion was the highest. Highest type of bhakti, ragana bhakti, bhi wo achieve kar liye the. But he went further. That is why when he had to do that very intense Advaita sadhana, he was unable to go beyond the form of the mother. Then Gyan, kyo, अस्सी लेके दैट दिस वर्ड, वही लेके उन्होंने दो टुकड़ा कर दिया था, दो खंड कर दिया था माँ के रूप का, तब वो ऊपर जा पाए. Not only that, he went and then he came back and lived as a very beloved child of the mother. But लेकिन तब तक वो पूरा सब देख चुके थे ताकि he could appreciate every type of aspirant. Is harmony not only that with the other religions, so ठीक है. Much more than that, probably the greater aspect of his harmony is what he did to Hinduism itself. How he united the different schools, saying that all are valid forms of worshipping the your god or goddesses or whatever it is, and also you can be with this or without this. That's why to him, Dvaitins will come, Advaitins will come. Brahmas who are in between this, they believed in the qualities but not in form. They also came. So every type of aspirant came and found that his view resonates with Sri Ramakrishna's view. ठाकुर का जो मत था, उस कोई ही उनका किसी को वो खंडन नहीं करते थे, नकार नहीं करते थे, दूर नहीं रखते थे, सबको अपनाते. That is probably the greatest contribution of Sri Ramakrishna in the realm of harmony, कि वो सबको लेके ऐसे चल पाते थे. ओम शांति शांति शांति, हरि ओम तत्सत. श्री राम कृष्णार्पणमस्तु. सबको नमस्कार जो ऑनलाइन में है. नेक्स्ट वीक क्या है?